Hello friends, welcome to Law and GK. So friends, on this channel we discuss the contents of law and previous year papers of judicial services and other legal exams. And friends, in today's video we are going to discuss the Bar Council of India All India Bar Examination AIBE 5th. So you can see paper comes like this. This exam was held on 25th August 2013. 2013 में एग्जाम पेपर कंडक्ट किया गया था. कोड है A. You have to write your name here, roll number, enrollment number. So no negative marking, 100 questions and 3-hour time period. You have to sign over here and you can read the other instructions over here. I hope कि ये videos आपके लिए बड़ी useful रहेंगी. So friends, if you are preparing for judicial services, this channel will be very useful for you. आपके लिए बड़ा ही beneficial रहेगा. And अगर आपको ये वीडियो अच्छी लगी हो तो जरूर लाइक कीजिएगा, शेयर कीजिएगा अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ. And don't forget to subscribe the channel. And while subscribing, don't forget to press the bell icon, so that you can get the notification of our upcoming videos. And अगर आपको हमारे efforts अच्छे लगे हो तो in addition to like and subscribe, kindly give us a super thanks. Super thanks is a way to appreciate the content creator. आप जो भी कंटेंट बनाता है उसको अप्रिशिएट करने के लिए आप जितना भी अमाउंट चाहें डोनेट कर सकते हैं. मिनिमम इज 40 रुपीज एंड डोंट फॉरगेट टू गिव अस अ सुपर थैंक्स. So let's move the questions. Question number 1 is dash is the process whereby interested parties resolve dispute, agree upon courses of action, bargain for individual or collective advantage, and or attempt to craft outcome which serves their mutual interest. That is negotiation. D is the answer. Next is 2. The fundamental aim of legal ethics is to maintain the honor and dignity of the law profession, to secure a spirit of friendly cooperation between bench and the bar in the promotion of the highest standard of the justice, to establish honorable fair dealing of the counsel with his client, opponent and witnesses, to establish a spirit of brotherhood in the bar itself, and to secure the lawyers discharge their responsibility to the community generally. Whose statement is this? This statement was given by Chief Justice Marshall. A is the answer. Next is 3. The Supreme Court has held that an advocate cannot claim a lien over a litigation file entrusted to him for his fees. No professional can be given the right to withhold the returnable record relating to the work done by him with his client matter on the strength of any claim for unpaid remuneration. The alternative is the professional concerned can resort to the other legal remedies for such unpaid remuneration. Refer to the specific case. कौन सा केस था ये? This was R.D. Saxena versus Balram Prasad Sharma. A is the answer. Next is 4. Duty of an advocate towards his client is detailed out in which rule of Bar Council of India? It is in rule from 11 to 33. B is the answer. Next is 5. Which section under Advocates Act deals with disqualification as to enrollment? That is section 24A. D is the answer. Next 6. Existence of two suits by parties litigating in the same title, one previously instituted which is pending at the present and other filed later, wherein a matter in issue in the subsequently filed suit is directly and substantially in issue in the other. The relief claimed in the subsequent suit can effectively be passed by the court of previous instance. Which section of CPC decides the fate of the subsequently filed suit and its proceeding? This is res sub judice. Section 10C is the answer. Section 11 क्या है? Res judicata. Next 7. Where there are mutual debts between the plaintiff and defendant, one debt may be settled against another. This can be a statutory defense to a plaintiff's action. It is called as cross-claim or set off. B is the answer. Provision कहाँ है? Order 8, Rule 6. Next is 8. An attachment before judgment order takes away right to ownership, right to file suit, या फिर power to alienate the property. C is the answer. Next is 9. The 3 pillars on which foundation of every order of injunction rest is prima facie case, injury with damage, balance of inconvenience, या फिर prima facie case, irreparable injury, not repairable, and balance of convenience. C is the answer. Next is 10. Dash is to enable subordinate court to obtain in non-appealable case the opinion of the High Court. क्या होता है ये? Reference. B is the answer. प्रोविजन कहाँ है? सेक्शन 113 CPC रेफरेंस रिव्यू रिवीजन। Next 11, who decides as to which of the several modes he or she will execute the decree? Decree holder. D is the answer. This is 12, where a party to a suit requires information as to facts from the opposite party. He may administer to his adversary a series of questions. It is called as interrogatories. C is the answer. And where is the provision in order? 11. Next 13, dash is a suit filed by or against one or more person on behalf of themselves and other having the same interest in the suit. It is called as representative suit. B is the answer. Provision is order 1 rule 8. Next 14, a person appointed by the court to protect, preserve and manage the property during the pendency of the litigation is called as receiver. D is the answer. Where is the provision in order 40 CPC? Next 15, the provision under CPC that relates to suit by indigent person. That is order 33. D is the answer. Next 16, Section 5 of the Limitation Act enables the court to condone delay in filing on sufficient satisfaction of sufficient cause. ये sufficient यहाँ नहीं आना चाहिए, on satisfaction of sufficient cause ऐसे आएगा ये। तो अपील और एप्लीकेशन ऑब्वियसली ए इज द आंसर। सूट्स पर नहीं होता है ये। Next 17, limitation period prescribed in filing a suit by mortgagor to recover possession of immovable property mortgages 30 years. D is the answer. And where is the provision in Article 61 of Schedule of Limitation Act? And this is a repeat question. Next 18, which are the provision under the Indian Evidence Act that deals with relevancy of opinion of expert? That is 45, 46. C is the answer. Next 19, the contents of document may be proved either by primary or secondary evidence. A is the answer. Where is the provision in section 62 and 64 for primary and 63 and 65 for secondary evidence? Next 20, oral account of the contents of a document given by some person who has himself seen it is secondary evidence. D is the answer. This is mentioned in section 63 of Evidence Act. Next 21, the DNA test cannot revert the conclusive presumption envisaged under section 12 of the Evidence Act. The parties can avoid the rigor of such conclusive presumption only by proving non-access, which is a negative proof. It was so held in which case? In Sheikh Fakhruddin versus Sheikh Mohammed या फिर सिद्धा रमेश या फिर कैलाश. A is the answer. Next 22, the statements of dead person are relevant under which provision? In section 32, and it is mentioned here 4. Again, it is mentioned wrongly here. So section 1 is there. C is the answer. Next 23, witnesses are the eyes and ears of justice. Whose statement is this? Bantham. B is the answer. Next 24, an accomplice is unworthy of credit unless he is corroborated in material particular is a, ये क्या है? Presumption of fact है, कहाँ mention किया गया? Section 114 of Evidence Act. A is the answer. Next 25, patent ambiguity in interpreting document render it incurable. इसको ठीक नहीं कर सकते, क्योर नहीं कर सकते. B is the answer. Next 26, promoting enmity between different groups on the ground of religion, race, place of birth, residence, language, etc. and doing act prejudicial to maintenance of harmony is an offence under which provision of IPC? That is section 153A. C is the answer. Next 27, the gist of this offence is a meeting of minds. किसका है ये? देखिए 120A क्या है? Conspiracy. 133, it is abatement of assault by soldier, sailor. 221 क्या है? Intentional omission to apprehend by the public servant. 340 the wrongful confinement. तो किस में meeting of mind? Conspiracy में. A is the answer. Next 28. A places men with firearms at the outlets of a building and tells B that they will fire at B if B attempts to leave the building. What is the offense committed by A as against B? It is wrongful confinement. B is the answer. And this is illustration B in section 340, wrongful confinement. Next 29. Adulteration of food or drink intended for sale is punishable under section 272. B is the answer. Next 30. Voluntary causing grievous hurt to debtor public servant from his duty is cognizable and non-bailable offense. A is the answer. Next 31. A obtains property from Z by saying, your child is in the hands of my gang and will be put to death unless you send us 10,000. This offense is? This is robbery. A is the answer because there is instant fear. It is mentioned here, na, your child is in the hands of my gang. And this is illustration D in section 390, robbery. Next 32. Which provision of CRPC deals with the procedure to be adopted by the magistrate to record confession and statements? That is section 164. A is the answer. Next 33. Any police officer may, without an order from magistrate and without a warrant, arrest any person who obstructs a police officer while the execution of his duty or who has escaped or attempt to escape from lawful custody under which section? This is section 41E. C is the answer. Next 34. The plea bargaining is applicable only in respect of those offences for which punishment of imprisonment is up to a period of 7 years. A is the answer. Next 35. Which provision under the code provides the indication as to the rule against double jeopardy? That is section 300. Autor fois acquit and autor fois convict. A is the answer. Next 36. If an accused is charged for a major offence but is not found guilty thereunder, he can be convicted of minor offence if the facts established indicated that such minor offence has been committed. It was so upheld in which case? In state of Himachal Pradesh versus Taradatta. B is the answer. And there is no need for even the cases. Section 222 of CRPC mentions that, and this is a repeat question. Next 37. Provisions of section 195 of the code were mandatory and non-compliance of it would initiate the prosecution and all other consequential orders. Initiate नहीं है पर ये vitiate होना चाहिए. In which case the court upheld so. This was C. Munippan versus State of Tamil Nadu. A is the answer. Next 38. Order granting anticipatory bail comes operative. दो बार कर दिया. On arrest या फिर on passing of the order by the court. On arrest. A is the answer. Anticipatory bail का provision कहाँ है? Section 438 CRPC. Next 39. A contract made by a trustee in excess of his power or breach of trust cannot be specifically enforced as per which section? 11. देखिए 12, 12, 13 and 11. 11 ही तो 11 में ही है ये. B is the answer. Next 40. Under section 41 of Specific Relief Act, an injunction cannot be granted to restrain any person from instituting or prosecuting in any proceeding in a court not subordinate to that. बिल्कुल ठीक है. To restrain any person from applying to any legislative body, yes. To restrain any person from instituting or prosecuting any proceeding in criminal matter, yes. All of the above. D is the answer. Next 41. Specific relief can be granted only for the purpose of enforcing individual civil rights and not for the mere purpose of enforcing a penal law. Which provision brings in such prohibition? Section 4A is the answer. Next 42. It was held by Supreme Court that preamble was not a part of Constitution in the case of dash in re Berubari, and this has been overruled in case of Kishwananda Bharati versus State of Kerala. A is the answer. Next 43. By the Constitutional 27th Amendment Act, the following word has been inserted under Article 19(1)(c). That is cooperative societies. C is the answer. Next 44. Doctrine of legitimate expectation was discussed in which case? In FCI versus Kamdhenu Cattle Feed Industries. D is the answer. Next 45. The Supreme Court in Salvi versus State of Karnataka held compulsory brain mapping, polygraph tests, and narco analysis were in violation of Article 20 and 21. D is the answer. This is repeat question. Next 46. Passive euthanasia is permitted in certain cases held in Aruna Ramchandra Shanbag versus Union of India. A is the answer. This is a repeat question. Next 47. Delivery of goods by one person to another for some purpose upon a contract that they shall, when the purpose is accomplished, be returned or disposed of according to the direction of the person delivering them. What is this type of contract called as? Bailment. C is the answer. Where is the provision? Section 148 Contract Act. Indemnity in 124, guarantee in 126, pledge 172. Next 48. The essence of contract of agency is the agent's representative capacity coupled with the power to affect the legal relations to the principal with the third person, with power entitled to the property, no, authority and status dealing with the trade, no. A is the answer. Next 49. A contract is an agreement between two or more persons which is intended to be enforceable at law and is contracted by the acceptance by one party of an offer made to him by the other party to do abstain from doing some act. Whose statement is this? The statement of Halsbury. A is the answer. Next is 50. A's nephew has absconded from his home. He sent a servant to trace his missing nephew. When the servant had left, A then announced that anybody who discovered the missing boy would be given a reward of ₹500. The servant discovered the missing boy without knowing the reward. When the servant came to know about the reward, he brought an action against A to recover the same, but his action failed. It was held that servant was not entitled to the reward because he did not know about the offer when he discovered the missing boy. The name of the case on reading the facts is Lalman Shukla versus Gauri Dutt. A is the answer. Next 50. A debtor owes several distinct debts to the same creditor and he makes a payment which is sufficient to satisfy all the debts. In such a case, a question arises as to which particular debt the payment is to be appropriated. Which section of Contract Act provides an answer to this question? Section 59 to 61. A is the answer. Next 52. What property cannot be transferred under Section 6 of TPA? An easement apart from dominant heritage, yes, it cannot be transferred, obviously. An interest in property restricted in its enjoyment, yes. A right to future maintenance, yes. तो कोई भी नहीं हो पाएगा इसमें. D is the answer. Next 53. A transfers property of which he is the owner to be in trust for A and his intended wife successively for their lives, and after death of survivor for the eldest son intended marriage for life, and after his death a second son. Can the interest so created for the benefit of the eldest son take effect? No. Why? This is rule against perpetuity. This is also a repeat question. Next 54. The commencement of arbitral proceedings is not dependent on the interim relief being allowed or denied under Section 9 of the Arbitration Conciliation Act. Supreme Court in which case held so? In from Ashok Traders versus Gurmukh Das Saluja. A is the answer. Next 55. Which provision of Hindu Marriage Act deals with conciliation? That is Section 23(2). B is the answer. Next 56. Which section of CPC deals with settlement of dispute outside the court? The Section 89. C is the answer. Next 57. Equal pay for equal work can be enforced through which article? Article 14 and 16. B is the answer. Next 58. The executive power of every state shall be so exercised as to ensure compliance with the law made by Parliament and any existing law mentioned under. This is Article 256. B is the answer. Next 59. Justice Ramanand Committee relates to creamy layer. B is the answer. Next 60. Original jurisdiction of Supreme Court is dealt under Section 131. C is the answer. 226 क्या है? हाई कोर्ट की रिट पावर. 124 क्या है? सुप्रीम कोर्ट की एस्टैब्लिशमेंट. And 61. Law declared by Supreme Court shall be binding on all courts mentioned under Article 142 or 143. It is 141. D is the answer. Next 62. According to the theory of social utilitarianism as propounded by Hering, greatest number of people should get greatest pleasure, या फिर the essential body of legal rule is always based upon social fact, या फिर a balance is to be struck between the competing interests in society, या फिर law is a mean to social ends. D is the answer. This is also a repeat question. Next 63. Obstructing public servant in discharge of his public function is a bailable and non-bailable. Bailable offence. B is the answer. Next 64. Compensation to victims of crime under criminal law relates to section 357. D is the answer. Next is 65. What persons may be charged jointly and tried together under section 223 CRPC? A person accused of same offence committed in the course of same transaction. Yes, बिल्कुल ठीक है. Person accused of an offence and accused of abatement of or attempt to commit such offence. Yes, different offences committed in the course of same transaction. Yes, all of the above. D इसका आंसर रहेगा. Next 66. Contravention of Contract Labour Act would not create employment relationship between the contract labour and principal establishment. It was so held in which case? It was held in Sale versus National Union Waterfront Workers. A is the answer. Next 67. The principal regulator envisaged under the Trade Union Act is regulator है या inspector या registrar? Registrar of Trade Union. C is the answer. Next 68. A teacher is not a workman falling under the category of workman under Industrial Dispute Act. This was upheld in which case? बड़ा ही famous case था ये. Miss A. Sundarambal versus Government of Goa. A is the answer. And this is a repeat question. पहले भी आ चुका है ये. Next 69. The type of disablement envisaged under the Employee Compensation Act that reduces the capacity to work in any employment similar to that the worker was performing at the time of accident is referred to as permanent partial या फिर permanent total temporary. It is permanent partial. A is the answer. And where is the definition of partial disablement? देखिए partial disablement is mentioned in section 2G of Employee Compensation Act, and compensation for the permanent partial disablement, it is mentioned in section 4 of the Employee Compensation Act. Next is 70. The contribution payable under the ESI Act in respect of an employee shall comprise of. Now what is ESI? That is Employee State Insurance Act. The contribution payable by the employer only, या फिर एम्प्लॉई ओनली, या फिर गवर्नमेंट, या फिर एम्प्लॉयर एंड एम्प्लॉई. एम्प्लॉयर एंड एम्प्लॉई. डी इज द आंसर. एंड वेट इज मेंशन, इट इज मेंशन इन सेक्शन 224 definitions in Employee State Insurance Act. Next 71. Which provision under the Industrial Dispute Act guarantees the right of workmen laid off to claim compensation? It is 25C. Here at 25C. C is the answer, and this is also a repeat question. Next 72. Natural law is the idea that there are rational objective limits to the power of legislative ruler. Yes, बिल्कुल ठीक है. There are no limits. No. There are limits of the power executed laid by the legislature. No. There is a command of the sovereign. No. A is the answer. Next 73. HLA Hart name is associated with which book? The Concept of Law. B is the answer. Province and Function of Law किसकी है ये? जूलियस स्टोन की. Social Dimension of Law ये भी जूलियस स्टोन की है. And theories of social change, there are different theories about the social changes. Next 74. Section 9 of Hindu Marriage Act deals with the institution of conjugal rights. A is the answer. Void marriage is mentioned in section 11. Judicial separation in 10. Ground of divorce 13. Next 75. Daughters are equated with the son with reference to joint family property under Hindu Succession Amendment Act of which year? 2005. D is the answer. And this is also a repeat question. Next 76. Mubarak under Muslim law refers to dissolution of marriage with mutual consent. C is the answer. Next 77. The discriminatory aspect of section 10 of Indian Divorce Act, now Divorce Act, was removed by substituting new section by the Indian Divorce Amendment Act 2001 या फिर Divorce Amendment Act of 2002. It is Indian Divorce Amendment Act 2001. A is the answer. Next 78. Trading activities of a company were stopped temporarily in view of the trade depression with an intention to continue the same when the condition improved. A petition was referred to the tribunal for the winding up of the company. The petition is liable to be dismissed या फिर will succeed. It will be dismissed. A is the answer. Next 79. Amalgamation of companies in national interest is dealt under section. देखिए ये जो क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं, this is from the old Companies Act of 1956. Now it is Companies Act 2013 and this old act has been repealed. तो उसमें सेक्शन था 396. Now it is mentioned in section 232 of the Companies Act. Next is 80. Under section 171 of Companies Act, a general meeting of a company may be called by giving a notice in writing for not less than 21 days. A is the answer. It is mentioned in section 101 of Companies Act 2013. 171 में नहीं है. Next 81. A private limited company limits the number of members to, now it is up to 200. Next is 82. Contributory negligence means the failure by a person to use reasonable care for the safety of either of himself or his property. No, this is negligence. Volunteer to pay for the negligence if you're contributing the money or money is worth for other wrongs, if you're inciting other to commit civil wrong. What is contributory negligence? When two person commits negligence tort against a third party and both can be equally or partially liable to that person, उसको बोलते हैं contributory negligence. अब देखिए यहाँ पे लिख दिया a person, तो इसमें देखिए so you can see that contributing the money or money for others wrongs, ये भी नहीं आया, contribution नहीं आएगा. तो मैं कहूँगा कि options इसमें, so I would say that options are not correct in this question. Next is 83. Where an enterprise is engaged in a hazardous or inherently dangerous activity and the harm results to anyone on the account of accident in the operation of such hazardous or inherently dangerous activity resulting, for example, in escape of toxic gas, the enterprise is strictly and absolutely liable to compensate all those who are affected by the accident, and such liability is not subject to any of the exceptions which operate as vis-a-vis the tortious principle of the strict liability. And in which case, in Shriram Food Fertilizer case, B is the answer. And this is a repeat question. Next is 84. A tort is a civil wrong for which the remedy is an action for unliquidated damages and which is not exclusively the breach of a contract or the breach of trust or the breach of other merely equitable obligation. Whose statement is this? It is Salmond. B is the answer. Next is 85. Under section 20 of Motor Vehicle Act, if a person is convicted of an offence punishable under 189 of Motor Vehicle Act, the court shall ordinarily order for, देखिए सेक्शन 20 क्या कहता है, पावर टू डिस्क्वालीफाई, तो डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन अंडर द एक्ट हो जाएगी. डी इज द आंसर. नेक्स्ट 86. कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट वाज ब्रॉट इनटू ऑपरेशन इन द ईयर, अब देखिए पुराना पूछ रहे हैं ये. नाउ द कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट 2019 हैज कम इनटू फोर्स and that act of 1986 has been repealed and the new act came into force on 20th and 24th July 2020 accordingly. Okay, so this now of no use. Next 87. Under the Consumer Protection Act, the jurisdiction of district forum should not exceed rupees, now it is up to 1 crore. Repealed. Section is 34 of New Consumer Protection Act 2019. Next 88. The second principle of rule of law of AIB relates to equality before law. B is the answer. Next, 89. If a quasi-judicial, if a quasi-judicial authority violates the principle of natural justice, the appropriate writ would be certiorari. D is the answer. Next is 90. A 7-member bench of Supreme Court unanimously struck down Clause 2D of Article 323A and Clause 3D of Article 323B of the Constitution relating to tribunals, which excluded the jurisdiction of High Court and Supreme Court. The court held that power of judicial review over legislative action is vested in the High Court under Article 226 and Supreme Court under Article 32. This is an integral part of basic structure of the Constitution. The name of the case is L. Chandra Kumar vs. Union of India. A is the answer. Next, 91. Accepting any other satisfaction than the performance originally agreed is known as reciprocal accord and satisfaction. C is the answer. Next is 92. Where two parties have a contract which one of them has broken, the damage which the other party ought to receive in respect of such breach of contract should be either such as fairly and reasonably considered arising naturally, that is according to usual course of things, such breach of contract itself, or such as may reasonably be supposed to have been in contemplation of the parties at the time they made the contract as the probable result of breach of it, in which case the principle was laid down. So this was Hadley versus Baxendale. D is the answer. Next is 93. When a misrepresentation has been made, what are the alternative courses upon an aggrieved person? He can avoid in the contract. Yes, he can affirm the contract and insist on the misrepresentation being made. He can rely upon the misrepresentation as a defense to an action on the contract. All of the above. D is the answer. Next is 94. A solicitor sold a certain property to one of his clients. The client subsequently alleged that the property was considerably overvalued and his consent was caused by dash. The court considered the relationship between parties to reach the decision. This is undue influence. C is the answer, where it is mentioned in section 16 of Contract Act. Caution in section 15 of Contract Act. Next, 95. The law of contract is intended to ensure that what a man has been led to expect shall come to pass, that what has been promised shall be performed. Whose statement is this? Anson. C is the answer. Next, 96. Intention not to create a legal obligation was clear from the conduct of the parties. Which among the popular cases deals on the topic? That is Balfour versus Balfour. A is the answer. Next, 97. According to the Indian law, in a lawful contract, consideration must move from promisee only. No. May move from promisee or any other person. Yes. Not necessary at all. No. B is the answer. The definition of consideration is mentioned in section 2D. Next is 98. Raghav owes Murli rupees 10,000. This debt is time barred by the Limitation Act. Even then, Murli promises in writing to pay Raghav rupees 4,500 on the account of debt and signs the document. This contract is enforceable. Kaise? By the exception 3 of section 25. It will be a separate agreement. A is the answer. An enforceable void, no. Next, 99. An agency can be terminated by the agreement between parties. Yes. Renunciation by the agent. Yes. By completion of business of agency. Yes. All of the above. D is the answer. Next is 100. Which type of loss are not covered by the contract of indemnity? Loss arising from accidents like fire or peril of the sea. ये तो कवर हो जाएगा. Loss caused by the promiser himself or by a third person. ये भी हो जाएगा. Loss arising by human agency भी हो जाएगा. तो आंसर रहेगा इसका none of the above. D is the answer. So friends, here we have discussed all the questions of Bar Council of India और India Bar Examination AIBE 5th. अगर आपको इसमें कोई कमी लगी हो, कोई सजेशन हो, कोई एडवाइस हो, कोई कमेंट्स हो, तो आप जो है कमेंट सेक्शन में जाकर भी लिख सकते हैं. We always appreciate your comments. And अगर आपको ये वीडियो अच्छी लगी और एफर्ट्स हमारे अच्छे लगे हो तो ज़रूर लाइक कीजिएगा, शेयर कीजिएगा अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ, सो दैट दे कैन कम टू नो अबाउट आवर चैनल एंड वो भी बेनिफिट ले सकें. एंड अगर आपको हमारे एफर्ट्स अच्छे लगे हो तो इन एडिशन टू लाइक एंड सब्सक्राइब काइंडली गिव अस अ सुपर थैंक्स. सुपर थैंक्स इज अ वे टू अप्रिशिएट द कंटेंट क्रिएटर. आप जो है जो भी कंटेंट बनाता है उसको अप्रिशिएट करने के लिए कोई भी अमाउंट जो है डोनेट कर सकते हैं फ्रॉम, तो काइंडली गिव से सुपर थैंक्स. So friends, thanks very much for watching this video. Thank you.